Welcome to day 4 of Fundamentals of Computing. I have a little few exercises today to work through. Just going over again some basic things, introducing you to using the computer and getting the Cloud Computing Lab, Dropbox Lab. There is also another there with the we can even start working on that. I think I just had a feeling I wanted to do that one first, and then we'll come to the Dropbox Lab. Since we've been talking about Windows, I'm going to jump to this, zip up some files, organize our files, then we'll come back to the Dropbox and Cloud Computing Lab on Friday, because those are pretty short ones. So let's jump ahead to see what in the world that one is about. Down here in your basics. Is that the one? I think that's the one. We're creating a bunch of files according to instructions on page 86. So the assignment would be named with your last name, OFF 86-2. Now let's see if indeed that is the correct page. I'll go over here to my book and I will go to page OFF 86. Find that. Let's go to my table of contents, see where that is. Let's see, OFF pages. How do I expand those? There. Okay. Dealing with handling files, and we're on 81 to there it is, page 86. Here's the folder structure we're going to create. One called Microsoft Office 2013, and we're going to create a Word, a PowerPoint, an Excel, and Access document. So getting a quick introduction to the 4 main applications we're going to be covering in this course. And then also practicing file organization. How many of you are keeping track of files, your files in multiple folders? You have a folder for each class? That'd be really good to be nicely organized. It will save you really headaches later on when you need to search for something. And it makes it a lot easier. Keep your files organized, even if your desk is not organized like mine is pretty chaotic. But I try to keep my computer folders organized because I keep most of my stuff there. This is the tree structure representing the folders. We're going to create a folder. First we're going to create a folder by your last name. Then within, or actually cs101, your last name cs101. And then inside of there we'll create a Microsoft Office folder. And inside of those we'll create these 4. And then we'll create a document to go into each folder. And they give you the information to put in the folder right here in the assignment description. So, going to bring up one of my favorite programs. Hitting the flag key, lower left flag key, will bring this up, and you can go to the documents icon, or you can search for a program. If you hit the flag key and just start typing, like Explorer, spelling it right, programs will automatically start searching for programs with that name. And you can do that same thing in Office or in Windows 10. You are using Windows 10. I forgot to tell you, your machines here in the back row have all been updated to Windows 10. Mine is still Windows 8, and I will eventually be updating mine to Windows 8, so my screens will look exactly like yours. So your tiles that come up, we want to bring up this thing called File Explorer. Not Internet Explorer, but File Explorer. And that allows us, so lower left flag key, and then fire up, there you go, have File Explorer. And what you can do here, since you're sharing this desktop with all other users, student, unless we establish your own user, go into your Documents folder here under this PC. And in there, unlike mine having thousands of files, you should have just very few files. In there, create a folder by going up to the tab. Here, double click if you don't see this ribbon across the top, just double click on the tab at the top, double click on the home tab, and it pops up the little File Explorer ribbon. And there's a new folder there, and call that folder by your last name, cs101 spring 2016. How about that? Last name cs101, and then put spring 2016. This way, if anyone else looks in that folder, the documents folder, they'll see that, and if they're at all a good citizen, they will see that that belongs to you, and they should leave it alone. But I can't guarantee you that they will leave it alone. They might want to prank you or go mess with something. Make sure you have a backup of this folder. This is where, for this particular project, we'll create these files. Now, if you use a jump drive, you can be doing all this instead of saving it in the documents. You could be saving it to your jump drive that should appear here. And you could do all of this on your jump drive, and when you come to class, just pop in the jump drive, and all your files get saved there. When you leave, you take your files with you. And the cool thing about that is you could take your files to the library and work on your homework in the library and not have to say, oh yeah, that file, where's that? Oh, it's in the computer classroom. I have to walk in the cold over to Smith Hall. Oh, I've got my shoes on, my coat, and find my ID card to get me in over there. But it's up to you. Okay, so in here we're going to create another new folder, and this folder is going to be the one called, let's call it by your last name, OFF86. The reason I'm giving it that name is when I zip up all these files to submit it as a homework assignment, it'll have that name. And when I unzip it to check that you've created the files, I'll see that it's done by you. So create a folder with your last name, OFF86, and then to go down inside of that folder, just double click, and at this point now, we're going to create this structure inside of there. Okay? So I can go new folder here. I can right click, new folder, which is a little longer, and I'll call it Microsoft Office 2013. Oh, and I have to click on it, and I can rename it. Microsoft. Actually, let's call it 2016 because you are actually going to be using Office 2016. We're going to find out how well 2013 book compares using Office 2016 because we don't yet have the Office 2016 book, and I'm not sure if publishers have it out yet. But just to give you a taste of it, we have installed Office 2016 in the back row here. If you find any problems using 2016, we can always move up a row or two. I forget which of these they have 2013 on some of them. I think just the back row has 2016 and Office and Windows 10. Once I create that, I'm going to go down inside of it. And remember, if you ever need to rename a file, you have the name wrong, you can click on it once and it puts you into edit mode of the folder name. Or you could right click, rename, and it puts you into edit mode. Double clicking on a folder takes you down inside of it. And now inside of there, we're also going to do another new folder, and we're going to create one called Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Access. So new folder. See, when I created it first, unless I click somewhere else, it's waiting for me to edit it. So Word, and then I hit enter, and it's done editing because it's now no longer highlighted. I can do new folder again. Whenever I hover over that, it shows me that there is a shortcut key, Control-Shift-N, will also do new folder. Let me do that. Control-Shift-N and PowerPoint. And PowerPoint, properly spelled according to Microsoft, has 2 capital P's. Okay, Control-Shift-N again, and I have Excel. Hit enter and another Control-Shift-N. When you're doing things a lot, you will want to memorize those shortcut keys. It will save you lots of time for tedious tasks like this rather than constantly pointing and clicking the new folder. And Access. Okay, at this point, all we have is the file structure. Now we're going to go into each of those folders and we'll create a document. Well, we don't actually have to browse into the folder. What we're going to do is start up Word and then save the document into that folder. And that's why we need to pay attention to where it's living. We see it here, Manning cs101, inside that folder, down inside that folder. To see the entire path to where I am currently located in my computer, just click in the white here, and it shows you a long path. They call this the file path to where your documents are. It's on the C drive in the users, AT Manning, documents, this long file path. Sometimes that path proves to be useful, especially when you're hunting for files. You can even Control-C, copy that file path, and put it in your document whenever you're wanting to keep track of your things. All right, so that is just the creation of the file structure. Now let's start up Microsoft Word 2016 and put in the content that they asked for. So I hit the flag button, lower left flag, type Word, and on my computer I have both 2013 and 2016. I think you only see Word 2016. I'm starting up Word 2016. It's firing up. Now this is happening to me because someone had run it as 2013 and it takes a while to switch between versions, which is kind of irritating. A reason not to have both versions on your PC. If someone accidentally brings up 2013, it'll say, oh, preparing for 2013, and sit there forever. But while you're there waiting for, and I'm waiting for mine to fire up, in the assignment description they want us to create a Word document containing the text first Word assignment. That's all we want to put in there. You're welcome to put more things in there, like hi from cs101, cold outside, I wish I had skis. This is taking longer than I would like just to start up Word at 2016. It's rearranging files to go with 2016's scheme of things. Have any of you been using or heard about 2016 Word, Office 2016? As far as I can tell is, well, when we first tried it out, we don't see anything obviously different. It does look, it's a different look and feel, a little bit flatter than 2013, the ribbons, there's not this little shadowed border things. So a little visually different. The functionality of it, they are pushing you more toward connecting it with your OneDrive. How many know about the OneDrive? When you have, well, Microsoft gives you the, remember we talked about cloud drives? Microsoft offers the OneDrive. Microsoft Office 2016 connects a little more tightly to your OneDrive, and you can actually share your documents with others through your OneDrive. Of course, they have to be using their OneDrive. So you see the marketing thing going on here. Microsoft gives you Office, connects you to Microsoft's OneDrive, encourages you, others, if they want to share, to use OneDrive, and then the world starts using OneDrive, and Microsoft can make money by offering you more services on OneDrive that you'll be paying for. And I have a little video I might be showing Friday about what's new in Office 2016. Okay, rather than waiting for me, while you're there, just create that Word document and then save it to, guess what, your Word folder that you just created. So then do a file save as and browse to where you had your Word folder, and you can just save it as, do they give a name when you save it? They don't tell you what to name it. So you could just maybe just save it by your name. Save the file. They just say save the file in the Word folder. So whatever name you like to give, call it test Word document or Office OFF 16 Word document. Man, this is ridiculously long. I thought I had run Word before to get past this configuration. while that's doing that, I'm going to fire up PowerPoint. If it's going to do the same thing, I better get it started. And look, it's not finding PowerPoint. My poor little PC is getting tied up here. There it is. So the same thing for PowerPoint. Save it as a presentation in the PowerPoint folder. And Word is chunking along here. Oh, PowerPoint's not doing so bad. Oh, looks like Word's getting closer. Wanting to be the default program, yes. And then finally, starting the blank document. Man, I'm getting behind you because of my PC. First, Word document. And Control S to save, or File Save As. I'm going to do the Control S. Browsing now. It remembers the last place I was, but I don't want to go there. I'm going to go to my cs1. I'm going to go to my Documents folder where I created that word, and it names it according to the first sentence it finds in the file. Okay, so same thing for PowerPoint. You have a blank presentation, and what they want to put in there, sample PowerPoint. That's all we care about. All right, so PowerPoint, sample PowerPoint. And Control S, browse. Don't want to go to my OneDrive. I'm going to go to my documents again in the PowerPoint folder. And again, the default name it wants to give it is sample PowerPoint, the first text it finds. Remember, in the file name you can always change that instead of using the default. And I'll do a save. And I can close PowerPoint just to save my memory from being filled with this application that when it runs, it starts using up memory. So I can close the PowerPoint application, close the Word application to free up memory so my PC doesn't get bogged down. Now, Excel, flag key, Excel. And there's Excel 2016. And it will fire up. It's thinking. It's acting as though it's firing up. I'll try that again, Excel. There it is. It was firing up. Okay, blank workbook. And in there, let's see, I think we're only putting one thing. In the workbook, my first budget Excel spreadsheet. And we can put that in cell A. How many have used Excel before? Good. And Control S to save that one. And this PC, browse to my Documents folder, the Excel file. And this time it wants to name it Book 1. Instead of looking at that first text, I'm going to, instead of saying book 1, I'm going to call it test PowerPoint, or I mean test Excel spreadsheet. And the save as part, we'll be coming back to that. I have multiple ways I can save files, huge number of ways. We're going to go with the default as an Excel workbook. And then close Excel. Now if I go back to my Windows Explorer, I will see now inside of every one of those folders, I will see the file is residing in there. So just double check that you are saving them into those places. Now the very last one is the access part, and this gets a little trickier. Access doesn't quite work the same as Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. It has to decide where it's putting its database before it actually creates it. So we go to access, the flag key, access, and show access 2016. Oh, and by the way, when you're here, you can always right-click, pin to start, or pin to taskbar. That means it will show up on the little bar on the bottom or side as always an icon there, kind of a little mini icon showing up. Programs that I use a lot, I will often pin to the taskbar. And that's done by finding the program, right-clicking, and you can pin it to the start or the taskbar. The start is this icon view of everything. You can also uninstall it if you have the privileges to uninstall programs. Or if you need to do something special with it, you can tell run as administrator. I'm not sure you have those options. I'm just going to start it now. And access fires up. But before you create, we're going to be creating a blank database, and I'm going to tell it I'm going to be creating a blank database. Before I say create though, I have to tell it where it's going to be created. Access creates it before it actually opens the Access interface. So here is where, before I even start, I tell it browse over to that place where I've been saving my documents. Same thing, it brings up a browse dialog, a save as or a file new dialog. Easily confused with the Windows Explorer. Some people will panic. They're browsing and they don't see files that they thought should be there, and they think they lost all their files. We're doing a create a file dialog in that Access folder, and by default it's giving it a name, database 8. Let's go ahead and give it the name, your last name, Access test file. And then I click create, and it will start that database in that folder. Now Access is going to be the scariest program you're going to learn, but the most powerful one. And it's going to show us this, and I don't think we need to do anything. Let's check to see if they want us to do something. Yeah, it doesn't have us do anything in the Access database. Just create it, and oh, they want to call my music database. Okay, we'll save it as my music database by doing this. We'll do File, Save As, Save Database As, and then down here, Save As. And it's going to close all objects. Yes, we'll continue. And browse back over to that. I forgot that they wanted it named My Music Database. So from inside Access, even though it asked you a name when it started, and there it shows the Manning Access test file, I forgot they wanted you to call it the My Music Database. So I'm going to rename it, or save it as My Music Database. And I'll just put my name in there. Instead of mine, I'm going to put Manning's Music Database. Let's see if it allows apostrophes in the file name. If I now do a save, oh, it didn't complain. But we're not going to do any learning of Access, so we can simply close that. And now, let's go back to the Windows File Explorer. And let's see if our files are there. Double click, shows me the files indeed are in there. While we're here, and while we have this ribbon open, here's something that's very nice to know about the Windows Explorer. Underneath the View tab of the Windows Explorer, not Internet Explorer, you can view your files in a variety of ways. I like the details because I like to see when the file was made. But you will often see files displayed like this as icons, a little friendlier, or medium icons, or lists. You can always switch by changing the view to whatever your favorite view of your files are. And the Windows Explorer remembers the last setting. As you go to other files, other folders like pictures, it automatically remembers the last view setting for that folder. So if my pictures I want to kind of view as like a picture catalog, they're set as extra large icons. So the view, and notice, so often you will have the view ribbon is hidden. You can always go to view, adjust your settings, and then view your files. Like, here's the most convenient time. Say I'm in the documents folder over here, and I see, okay, when were things created? I can go to view, set it as details. When maybe I first came, all I saw was their icons. If I'm looking for a file, and I have a huge list of files like here, and I want to see, well, I know I created it within the last week. Well, I can click at the top of the column and sort it according to age. There's oldest first. I click again, it shows the newest first. And I think it always shows files first, and then, or is this? No, that's oldest first. This is newest first. So it shows me my most recent files. If I remember the name, I can click here and it will alphabetize them by name, folders first and then files, and then I can hunt through my files. I can always search for files. Very helpful. If I'm not sure where I put it, I can go to this PC and start the search at the very top. How many have used that search capability? It'll save your life sometime thinking, wait a minute, I created that document, I forgot where I had saved it. Searching for it, and it's fairly quick, pretty quick on the faster PCs. It's searching the entire terabyte drive in an amazingly small amount of time. When you start searching here, I think it will actually search everything that it has permissions to search into. And then I will go now back. It remembers the path that you've been. So you don't have to go up a level. You can always just go back. Where was I? What was my last page I was at? Using the little back button in the Windows Explorer. And remember, double-clicking the tab keeps the ribbon open if you like those ribbons. Sometimes they get annoying because they use up a lot of space in the window. Okay, so you have our folders here with a file in each one, and notice that when I do medium icons, it actually shows me that there are files in there. If I did details, it doesn't say anything. It just says the date that was created. If I go up a level, either by going up here or clicking on the name right there of the path, it takes me up a level, and now I see my Office 2016 folder. I go up another level to my Manning documents, and there's my Manning OFF 86 that contains that assignment file structure inside of it. This is the folder that I want to compress and send them up, upload them all together as one file. It's called an archive. How many have done archives before? Archives, very handy for sharing or saving a list of files, a load of files, or archiving files. Like you've done a project that involved a lot of pictures, multiple files, you worked with someone on multiple files, and you want to save that or send it in an email. Well, putting it in one file rather than going down and dragging one file at a time up to email, that's kind of a pain. Here's what we do to make this into one archive. Simply right-click on that, and we're going to send to compressed folder. Now, I haven't done this yet in Windows 10. I'm assuming you still have that there, the send to compressed folder. Is that there?
Yep.
Okay, and then it's going to create a folder called a zipped folder. Go ahead and just send to compressed folder and see what happens. In about an instant, it creates one file containing that entire file structure. But this is a zip file, and if I zoom in here on the view, you will see that it has a similar look to a file, but has a little zipper on it. And I can actually click on that and browse into it as though it were a regular file, but it's really not. I'm actually inside of a compressed folder. So you can't treat it exactly like a folder and actually open up the files in Word. It won't quite work. This is just showing you browsing through the contents of that zip folder. And it's telling you that by the top of the ribbon, showing you this is what's inside of there. If I actually want to get at the files, I would have to do an extract all. But we don't need to do that because in Windows Explorer, we can browse into that. So I'm going to go back to the medium icons. When they're tiny, you can hardly tell a folder from a zipped folder. It just has a tiny little line on it. But if you ever run into that, that's why you see a slightly different icon. It's a zipped file. Oh, and something that I always do while we're here in the view, I love to show file name extensions rather than guessing what they are. I like to see that it ends with .zip. That file name extension is what Windows uses to know what's in that file. So when I go down to my Word document or Access, the suffix, I like to see that suffix. Normally, by default, you don't show the file name extensions, but I like to see it there. Just help me remember that the suffix is what Word or Windows is using to know how to open that file. At this point, though, I'll go back up to here. This is the file that I'm going to upload to eLearn in completion of this assignment. So let's practice that now. Go over to the assignment, and you should have a submit button there. All you need to do is submit and then browse to that zip folder you just created and upload that file, and then click done or save changes. There you go. And there you will have that assignment completed. Since I'm the teacher, it's not showing me that. Maybe I can change my view. Now when I go to grade assignments like this, I go here and I will see you listed there, and I will see whether you have uploaded the file. And I'm not sure why I can't slide to the right. I don't see my, oh, I have to go full screen maybe. Oh, there I can see. So see, I see you've submitted the file. Once you've done it, I see it in my gradebook. And then if I refresh it, there we go. Good job. I can see that you've uploaded your file. And then I just click on it to download. That's the way eLearn works. And other classes may have uploads. Some classes, they simply have you go online and do online reflections of your assignment. This is what our distance ed is using more, doing a lot of discussion. Okay, so there's that first assignment completed. Now remember what we've done here. Using our Windows Explorer, Alt Tab lets me switch between applications here. Windows Explorer, viewing the various files. Now while we're here, let's go to the Home tab in Windows Explorer. And let's go up here. Right-click on this PC. Right-click on this PC and then go to Properties. This shows you what version of Windows you're running, and often is very useful when you're needing help with your computer. Some people say, what are you running? What in the world, what operating system do you have? They want to know, is it running Windows 8, Windows 8.1, Windows 10, Windows 7? So right click on this PC, Properties, gives you your basic information. If you're working on a computer and you're not sure what's going on here, why is it not working right, maybe it's because it's not the right version of Windows for that particular program. Windows 8.1 has multiple possible versions. We run Windows 8.1 Pro. When you buy a PC at the store, usually you get the home version of the operating system, which has some features disabled or not available to you. Any company that uses Windows should not be using the home version. Pro version makes it more useful to companies, especially regarding sharing files and printers and resources within a company. What version of Windows shows up there? The other important thing to look at is how much memory you have. This will often give you a clue as to why it is so slow. Remember, we said when you're buying a PC, memory is the first thing to check for if it's going slow at all. So if anyone's asking you for support, you'll be impressing them if you say, oh yeah, I'm running Windows 8.1, I know, I saw the properties of my computer. The other thing here is the type of processor. The speed here, the 3.5 gigahertz, the bigger that number, the faster your PC will be. But also how many cores it has, the type of processor it has. This has an i3 processor. The main thing though that people are concerned about, and when you look at advertising in the store, it's how fast it is, how many gigahertz it is. These others, is it a 64-bit or a 32-bit processor? Most that you have now are 64-bit processors. There's a little bit of compatibility sometimes. The older ones are 32-bit processors. If you're getting a new one, I'm not even sure they sell 32-bit processors anymore. But if you're buying a used one, 32 or 64 makes a difference in how some programs work. The main difference between 32 and 64 is the 64-bit can use up gobs more of memory and have much more access to the 8 gig of memory. If you have a 32-bit processor, it really can't make good use of anything beyond 4 gigabytes of memory when an application is running. But they figured out ways around it. So pack your PC with lots of memory, keep up with the latest version, or know how to see what version you're running. Most of the time, your basic programs like Office will run on multiple versions unless you have a really old version of Windows. So this is a very powerful screen, very informative, gives you lots of information about your PC. One other thing to look at, see, does it let you go to Device Manager?
Yep.
Go ahead, go to Device Manager. If you're ever having a problem connecting to something, like a printer or your audio isn't working, the Device Manager will sometimes show little alarm icons when there's a problem with something. So that's a nice place to be able to know how to go to. There's tons more, but I leave that for the CIS IT nerdy kind of things. But knowing how to get here is useful enough that it's nice for you to know that. And remember, any technical knowledge that you can go beyond your average person and show that in your work or in an interview, you're making it to the higher on the top of the list for someone being hired for that, because PCs are being used everywhere. People want to hire people, companies want to hire people that have good PC knowledge. About every resume or every job description you'll see out there is, PC skills. And if the more you can show of your knowledge of just browsing around your computer, the better, first of all, the more comfortable you will be in using your computer and not always needing help from someone just to do some basic things. And when you're asking for help, that properties of the computer, that's often the first question that you ask when you're getting computer support. Okay, what version are you running? Have you seen people that get confused between the operating system and Office? Remember, the operating system is the Windows version. Office is the application. And let's talk about the difference between applications and the operating system. What can you tell me about what the operating system does? What do they mean by operating system versus an application? How about we get there? What's the difference between operating system and application?
Doesn't it operate the computer?
Yeah, the operating system operates the computer. It connects to your drive and shows you the files that you have on your hard drive or your CD. And it's always there. When you start up your computer, the operating system is always there helping you. It's in the background. It shows you your desktop. It lets you click on things. And you can't do much unless your operating system is running. So the operating system is critical to making your computer useful. Now the application, what do? They have
a specific use.
Yeah, let's name some applications. Go down the road, name the applications. Esther, name an application. Word!
Oh,
Access.
Visual Studio 2015.
Whoa, impressive. Visual Studio. Anna. PowerPoint. Excel. iTunes. And iTunes is an application. Sometimes when you run an application, it'll actually start multiple programs. It'll actually do what they call run in the background and be ready to show you things. A way to know what's running in the background on your PC, I'm going to iconify this or minimize this window. If I go to my little taskbar, and where's my taskbar? I think mine's hanging around on the right here. This taskbar down here at the very bottom, or on yours down the lower right hand corner, you'll see lots of things running in the system. This is called the system tray. This shows you applications that are running or that are available to you kind of in the background. Another way to see what programs are running in the background, hit Control-Alt-Delete. Control-Alt-Delete, and then click Task Manager. This shows you programs that are running. Some of them are part of the operating system. Some of them are what we call services. Look at all the things that are actually running in the operating system. The operating system is not simple at all. Very complex. I'll call it a complex group of processes all running at the same time. It depends, of course, on what you have installed on your computer, of what applications are running. This is the processes running. Here, if I click over here on, I just have processes. Do you have? I can look at the detail of what's happening on my PC. Sometimes I can see applications and not just the processes. This shows me that the operating system has lots of things going on in here. And this is why sometimes viruses can get in, because there's so many processes running, it can get very complex, and a little virus can be running as one of these little things looks so innocent, and it may actually be a virus running. And see this huge list, processes running on my computer. The more useful thing to the average user, though, is click on the Performance tab, and I can see how am I doing in how much CPU is being used, or even more important, how much memory is being used. When I see my program or my PC running slow, Control-Alt-Delete, Task Manager, and just see is the memory being used up. If this memory is close to the top, more than 90%, you probably need to shut down some programs, or you may have a problem with not having enough memory in your PC, or there might be a program with a bug in it that it has what we call a memory leak. It's using up memory way more than it should and slowing down your poor little PC. So we'll stop there. After working through the file management process, little project, now you are skilled and ready. On Friday, we will be working through the cloud assignment, getting familiar with the cloud. Hope this has made you more comfortable just to use your PC. Question?
Do we not have to, the Dropbox lab, we don't need to do it outside of class, we'll do it in class?
Well, I'll work through some of it. If we don't, here's what happens. A lot of these we'll try to finish in class. Some of them we'll get mostly through. and then then it'll be up to you to finish the rest. But yeah, we'll.
That one I think was due on Friday, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah. So here's the deal. If we find on Friday that we've come to a roadblock and a lot of people didn't get very far, I might say, oh, we'll push that to Monday if we didn't get far enough. But that's a pretty quick one. I think we'll have it done in class.
Okay.
But you're welcome to work ahead on them, and then in class it's more review. So it's your choice.
Wait, so
All
you
right.
said there's nothing due for Friday, but we're gonna do it in class?
Yeah, we'll do it in class. It'll be due by midnight Friday.
Okay.
What,
The Dropbox thing
Oh,
I
okay.
mentioned. It's a pretty easy project.
I'm going to be gone Friday on the archaeology trip.
Okay.